Hey guys, it's John, your Tennessee flying farmer, and I think it's time for an update. So let's go up here and see what's going on, what's new.
This guy's good.
Now, here's our farmer, John Humbred.
Look at that! Oh my God!
That was good.
I'm definitely making some progress on the Super Duty, but it's been busy on the farm too. Everything's just been pretty busy lately. We had record-breaking rainfall for our area in the month of May, which made harvesting wheat silage very difficult and created quite a struggle working in the mud to try and get it out of the field. While at the same time we were switching the cattle over to pasture rotation so they can have fresh grass regularly. And then we moved right into the super hot month of June and trying to get more cropping done, like getting corn planted, and then moving straight into harvesting the rest of the wheat grain with one of our older combines, which is 58 years old. This presents its own whole set of problems with breakdowns because there are no parts or support available for these old combines anymore. So we basically just have to struggle through the custom repairs to try and keep things going as best as possible. Now that we have been running good for a few days, we're finally making good progress with the wheat harvest, moving a lot of grain, and really hoping to finish up with it tomorrow. So then maybe I can get back to spending a little more time with a 750 Super Duty Extreme build. Anyway, even with all that going on, there's still stuff to show here too, so let's get started on that. As you can see, I've got most of the front back together on this thing now, and I don't have everything to final size yet. Like I've still got a few of the holes to bore out final size and some things to thread and the finished fit. But I mocked it up really for the front firewall and this whole nose strut assembly. I was wanting to get a little further along with it. Of course, I've been waiting on the next prototype, and I got the next prototype. This is actually it, and it looks really, really good, but there's still a couple of tweaks in it. This whole thing here has been a project that's been over 2 years in the works. And, well, basically in that 2 years, I've really been thinking about how I could make it even better. And I am actually going to do a one-off, complete new front strut system for this Super Duty Extreme. Now, that being said, I'm still going to work on this for you guys because I think it is really cool concept, and I think it's going to be kind of a game changer for the suspension on the nose of these birds. I got quite a few parts in from Zenith last week too, and with those parts, I managed to get enough stuff to do a mock-up so I could really mock up another one of these with a completely factory setup. You know, the goal of this thing is to build a front strut assembly for this that you can just take out the old strut, bolt in the new pieces, and put this in, install it. Of course, install your new or your old nose fork or a new one. We're trying to get new nose forks going too. But we want you to be able to install this on your current plane and go flying and be able to utilize it. So, since I'm getting ready to tear this all back apart and make it my custom one-off, I wanted to have another setup that I could have a mock-up to be able to do prototypes and try to get this thing to where it would work directly with the 750 series. And here's the thing, we're not just building this new nose strut that's replaceable, we're actually building the entire assembly for it. So what I mean by that is you'll take out the bearing, the plastic bearing that's underneath here. This piece is one that I'm still waiting on to get just right. It doesn't hardly fit in there, but it fits in between this hat piece and the channel, so it actually goes all the way up in there, and it goes over the top of the shock there. It doesn't hardly go up in the channel, it's just not sized hardly right. So anyway, I'm still waiting on this from TK1, but you'll have essentially a spacer that goes between. The bolts will go all the way through both and into the top of the shock body there, and that'll make all of this completely solid. So it'll be a solid mount at the top. At the bottom is really cool too because we have changed this piece is no longer plastic. You won't have the plastic bearings to worry about. This is a really nicely machined aluminum bearing, and we're still in the works with it too because that's a concept, but I think we're gonna make some pretty major changes to it. But the idea of it, it's essentially going to be a direct replacement. The idea behind this is, as you can see there are 2 O-ring grooves in that. We're going to put 2 O-rings on this shaft. So essentially what will happen, I know there's just one on there, but there's 2 O-ring grooves, and what we will do is we will have a grease zerk that comes out between these. So you'll be able to grease, this will be a greasable front bearing that is aluminum with 2 O-rings. So this thing's getting really, really close, but we're just not hardly there yet to where I can say, you guys, you need to reach out and let's get this thing on your plane, because it's going to be a beast, and I think it's going to work really well because of course, it'll be adjustable. You can put nitrogen and change that for the amount of weight you have on the front nose. Of course, it's nitrogen and it's internal oil, so it has the rebound damping too, and I think that's going to be a big deal for these planes. I think it'll save some of them on some of these rough landings, and should make just everything a lot smoother once we get it actually up and going. And with those parts I got from Zenith, some of them were a few custom pieces that, well, I say custom, they're essentially just a few pieces that didn't have all the factory holes, so I can modify them and put the holes exactly where I need. Well, this whole thing's, like I said, it's been a couple of years in the works, and in that couple of years I've had time to really look at this and think about how I wanted to do mine, maybe differently even yet. So we're going to do a one-off, complete new system for my Super Duty Extreme. I can't really show you all the details yet because I don't have it worked out, but in the next video I will probably, this stuff will look a lot different, I'll just say that. Long story short on that, instead of having the steering rods come through the firewall like they do in the standard configuration, we are building a strut, going to build a strut that mounts solid at the top, basically like the other one does. A couple of different modifications there, but the bottom will also be solid mounted. So essentially the shock body will go from the top all the way to the bottom. It'll mount solid at the bottom, so you won't have this bearing block for it to even go through. The steering rod arms will be actually underneath the fuselage, so it'll be steered from underneath instead of above. In one of my past updates, I think you guys know that I built these steering rods, changed them from the chromoly ones that come from the factory. I kind of dove into the whole world of titanium. So I built steering rods out of titanium, and I didn't want to stop there. After I'm looking at all this stuff and decided to do it entirely different, of course, I'm going to have to modify the brake pedals to be able to make these steering rods come out underneath instead of through. So since I'm building the brake pedals, the rudder pedals completely from scratch anyway, I've dove into more titanium. I've actually set up a purge system for my welder, and well, let's take a look at the brake system. All right, so here's what I've got going on with the brakes. As you can see, I've never really needed a passenger side brake pedal setup, so basically I went ahead and just completely eliminated the right passenger side. You still see a couple of things there. I'll explain that in just a second. But anyway, all of this tubing is titanium. I really dove into the whole world of titanium, and these rudder brake pedals I think are going to be, well, they're going to be a one-off for the Super Duty for sure, but I really like the way it's coming out. I think it's going to tidy things up and make it look really nice. As you can see, I've got the Behringer. They have what's called rudder pedals. Instead of just flexing on the top, it actually covers the pedal completely, so it gives you a little more foot control, a little more foot feel. I'm excited about that. I'm excited to see how it actually feels and how it works. And I've posted several pictures of this on my Facebook page. If you guys aren't following it, go check it out at the Tennessee Flying Farmer. Anyway, several comments I've gotten on why is that penetrating through the floor? Why do I have holes in my floor? And that's actually what extends beneath to work the steering rods. So instead of going through the firewall, like I said, they're going to go down beneath. Basically, I've got that tube that sticks the same amount down as what it would have been up if it were mounted on that same post going up. So it's the same distance from this pivot point. Basically, all I like on the inside of this to have it finished, and this tube right here, you see there's nothing attached to the top. It is essentially just there for the rudder cable. There'll be a bracket welded to the top of it with a cable running back through the tunnel. And I still have to weld a bracket on this side once I get figured out exactly how the next part of my material gets here. I'm waiting on the correct thickness of the plate to be able to make those tabs. And we're back at the front, and if we go underneath, you can see where those tubes actually stub through the floor. So all I like on the bottom there is to weld in my stud with the threaded, so I can be able to put the steering rods on the bottom. And like I said, they'll essentially steer this front nose strut from the bottom instead of from above that bearing going through the firewall. And since I'm starting to enjoy this whole titanium work, it's been a pretty cool experience, my first realm off titanium. Since I'm starting to enjoy that and starting to really dive into it and save a little bit of weight and build some titanium parts, well, let's just do some more. This came out really, really well on the pedals, and I decided to go ahead, and now I have a Y stick that is also built out of titanium. And looking down in there just a little bit, it actually, my torque tube is also now titanium. It's designed just a little bit different there at the back. I've braced it in just a little differently than what the factory configuration is. You might notice that's a little different where all that ties together. At this point, the only part of my control system that's not titanium is this flapper-on mixer tube, and it's, of course, I've already custom modified it. I didn't totally build it. That's essentially the one that comes from Zenith, but I ordered it without the tab over there that is electric control flaps. It doesn't have the tab for the electric motor that controls the articulation of the flapper-on tube. Instead, and this goes way back actually, instead I've modified it, welded on my own brackets to where it goes through a push rod system that actually comes up and is worked manually. I still like the last little pieces of that, so that'll for sure be in a later video. But anyway, that is the only piece that's really still chromoly, and I'm trying to talk myself out of tearing it back out of the airplane and doing it in titanium, because it's already fit up nice. It's already welded in there with chromoly. It's already attached. It already has the bearings greased. That piece is ready to go. So I may not change that one. So why don't I just stick with the factory chromoly stuff on the control parts? Well, I was really planning on stopping there at the brake pedals, but I was mocking up and putting together this control system. I got to really inspecting this stuff, and well, I found a couple of things that I'm just not too keen on. Let's see if I can get this. I actually found a crack in this piece. Now I have no doubts that Zenith would make this up. They would probably send me another one out, today if I called and let them know. But as you can see, there's a little crack started right there, and it's actually started on the other side too, if you look close enough. I don't know if I can get the camera there. But anyway, that crack where that chromoly piece is bent, I'm just not happy with that. I really don't think this would ever cause any trouble because it's welded in there good enough on the top of that tube and it's all fitted up nicely. But it's still a crack, and that's the part where the aileron control rods go. So I'm just not going to use that. And I've got started in this whole titanium thing, so I kind of wanted to see, these pieces are actually kind of heavy because that's a long piece going over through there. Of course, the Y stick is it's a pretty hefty little piece too. It's not super heavy or anything like that, but while I'm making stuff out of titanium, why not, right? The other reason being the way this thing is assembled. And guys, this is actually in Kitplanes. My next article coming out will kind of describe what's going on here with how this stuff actually attaches. They have welded a bushing into this tube. I don't think I can get good enough to show you that. But anyway, there's a bushing welded in there, and they essentially just grind the weld back down to where it matches the profile of the tube. And then there's another bushing that fits down in this that sandwiches between, and it all gets connected with a bolt. Well, the bushing materials aren't exactly perfect, and of course the bolt that goes through the thinner bushing isn't perfect either. So that gives a little bit of slot between the Y stick and the torque tube. So my entire goal of building this complete assembly out of titanium is to clean up any possible slop and, of course, lighten it up some too. So basically what I've done here, I've kept the same profile with everything. Of course, there's a lot of careful measuring and mocking up and all that kind of stuff. But what I've done here, I've gone with a slightly smaller but heavier wall tube so I could weld some thicker side plates to it. And there'll be a bushing that goes up in that. Actually, I'm gonna go with a plastic bushing that's replaceable. You can see a little washer in there in between those. That'll actually be replaced with the flange on that bushing, and then the bolt will go all the way through like this one does. I've doubled up both ends of this control tube with the same size that's on the factory chromoly one, so I could utilize the factory bearings, the plastic bearing blocks that they go through. Now I've got it back apart for you, and you can see I've kept the same basic profile for the Y-stick, but to make it work, since this tube is a little bit wider, it's still just a little bit wider with these plates I've added to the side. So that meant that I believe it's 1.1/8" tube on the chromoly it makes this gap here not hardly wide enough to fit the new width. So I took this up one size. This is actually 1.25". Everything else is the same, but this is 1.25", and that spreads that out just ever so slightly. So it works really well with the width I needed here. So I think it's going to be a really tight-fitting, nice articulating setup in the windup of things. Another common question I get on the titanium is how much weight does it actually save? And I haven't had a real good answer to that because with the pedals and all that kind of stuff, it's entirely different. So I'm not comparing apples to apples. Even the Y sticks, they're going to be a little bit different between the two, just because one of them has a wider tube than the other. It's a 1.25" versus 1.1/8". But anyway, let's weigh them and find out what the true difference is. So after carefully weighing both of these, and it's still not totally apples to apples because, like I said, this one has a little bit bigger diameter tube there. But anyway, they're very, very similar. This is one of the pieces I have that is just extremely similar. This one weighs 55% of what this one does. So basically what that means is I've saved 45% of the weight off of this. After weighing all of it, this complete assembly, lay this back out here. You've got your chromoly assembly there, you've got your titanium assembly here. On that control setup right there, I've saved over 1.5 pounds. And I know that doesn't sound like that much. People say, you can lose that much just by skipping a meal and all that kind of stuff. Well, this is something that won't vary. Once this is actually all done and installed, that's weight that I won't have to worry about changing. It'll be there. Of course, I'm doing some other stuff with titanium too. The bolts where the axles mount to the main gear on the Zenith. There's 8 of those, and it saves quite a bit of weight there, and I'm adding some titanium bolts in other places. So I'm estimating my titanium savings will be somewhere in the 10 to 12 pound range once I get completely done. And that's 2 gallons of fuel, so why not? Well, I better call it a wrap because I'm actually out here pretty early in the morning, and it's getting close to time for me to get back on the farm, do some work, and try to get to the field here in a bit. So I'm gonna call this a wrap for now. I hope you guys enjoyed this little update. There's a lot of things. Of course, now that I have parts coming in, and I'm excited about what's here. I've already got some parts from Zenith, and you can see over there, I've got the stuff to mock up the second prototype, and I've got stuff to be able to tear this completely back apart and redo it. Well, that's all I can do for right now. I'll try to give you guys another update here before it gets too far along again. And as always, thank you all for watching very much. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will catch you next time. See ya.